sabotaging the stream by telling us to change the title.
DDoS.
DDoSed us. He DDoSed us. Yep. We're back. Hi. Cool. Well, thank you for the notice, Fizzlestick, and then thank you for crashing OBS. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. So yes, the unit-wise, it's Old Rowdy, Ironclad, and a Firefly. These are Sword Knights up here, and then you went and found out these are Bane Riders.
Derek Wrath.
Oh, really? You got Derek Wrath with this one? That guy?
Yeah, that's Derek Wrath.
Derek Wrath. And did you see where Denegro was? Behind the wall.
The black one, the little black dot in between them, that's the Bone Shredder.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
And yeah, Denegro's back there. Well, I believe that Cygnar player defeated.
Haley,
Yeah,
defeated.
Haley defeated. Miguel was complaining about Haley 2's feet.
Yeah, I would too.
What happened?
We fixed it.
What happened?
A friendly chat member, Fizzlestick, told us that we were streaming on D&D, so we went over here and pressed the not streaming D&D, but instead playing Warmachines, and then it crashed. But we fixed it.
Perfect.
Yes, because OBS is a great program. Yes, Fizzlestick has got powerful sorceress. She's a powerful sorcellator. Well, I'm gonna fiddle with. I'm saying fizzle all the time. I'm gonna fiddle with something really quick. Let's try this. So we do have the ability to zoom. I'm just kind of scared to do it. Don't touch anything. Because it would be nice to be able to zoom in at this point.
Yeah,
and
be
get a little
able
bit
to
closer to the action.
Distinguish exactly.
And this is something that Eric, once he's kind of here running the whole show, can do. And I'm kind of don't want to interrupt him in the middle of his turn to do it. But in theory, a little useful feature that when Eric is not currently charging at a Kraken is we'll be able to actually zoom this camera in. So as the action proceeds from sort of like the beginning deployment, we can kind of bring the camera down in so that we can actually see a little bit better up close, which I think will help in a situation like this where it's a little bit more challenging to distinguish where the units are and who this teeny tiny little speck of a model is.
And maybe
right
showing where
there.
the focus on what's actually activated right now and happening.
Precisely.
Looks like 3 Storm Lances charging into the Kraken.
Yep, so 3 Storm Lances charging to the Kraken. This is probably an order of activation problem. This is probably just kind of the nature of Eric's, again, not as quite as familiar with the game, which is totally cool because he's done a great job of learning in his last couple weeks. But what he probably would have wanted to do is get that Firefly over here to within 5 inches. That way, these assault shots from the Storm Lances would have been POW 14 instead of 12. And then instead of it being a -7 damage roll, you're on a -5, which is just better dice math.
Probably could also soak up either Derek Wrath or that Bone Shredder after this Bone Shredder, right? Or probably
At the Bone Jack, it's probably either a Death Ripper or a Defiler or a the one with the gun, Night Wrench.
Night Wrench.
I don't know which one comes with the battle box, which is what Miguel's playing off of.
Oh, okay.
So, whatever one that one is.
I think it's the Arc Node one, isn't it? Or is it?
They're all arc nodes.
Oh, they're
all
okay.
Bone Jacks are arc. All those Bone Jack chassis are arc nodes. So, at least that core ankle biter chassis. We've got a couple damage rolls coming out. Seeing which columns we're going to. That's the other thing we want to get is have a dice rolling box, and put that maybe like say like here, for example, on the side of the table. That way we can have a concentrated area where the dice rolling can happen. We can see that, and that way we can kind of commentate on it because we don't know specifically like what Eric is rolling this second for what purpose, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that they are not doing in this game that you will see tonight during Midnight Fights is the objectives are all, you actually choose an objective, right? And you're familiar with this. They have not actually chosen an objective from the Masters tournament packet, but under normal circumstances, when you're playing a scenarioed game that has objectives, you will have selected an objective for your army. In the case of, there's a couple of them, they're a little bit more or less popular. The most popular ones at the moment are like Bunker, which allows you to be into base-based contact with it and not suffer blast damage.
Probably fuel cache is up there.
Fuel cache makes a cloud. You know that, yeah?
Oh no, it makes a cloud now?
Yeah, fuel cache is not recharges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what fuel cache does is any models that melee it catch on fire, and then it puts out a 4-inch AoE cloud that the center point of the cloud has to be within 1 inch of the fuel cache.
And that can happen every turn?
It happens every turn. You just get to adjust where it is.
That can be handy in defending your warlock.
Yep,
or warcaster.
exactly. And so that is actually one of the more popular objectives because it allows you to be in a situation where the fuel cache, for example, might be placed right about there, and then you just hide your warlock behind it, right, or your warcaster. So it's just, I don't know, for Cloud on Demand.
Is any other objectives changed?
Arcane Wonder has changed. Now, instead of it giving you reducing the cost of a spell, it reduces the range of enemy spells targeting models near it.
Okay.
It still like has the Plasma Nimbus where it deals damage if you hit it. Yes, they've all changed a little bit, but the reality is currently no one really uses anything good besides Fuel Cache and Bunker.
It seems very defensive objective.
Yeah. The other, I mean, they all kind of do that thing. Effigy of Valor is still freestanding, stand up from knockdown within 4 inches, and it's cover. So that one's still pretty popular. Other than that, basically, though, people are going for the ones that protect their Warcaster, right?
Yeah.
Give you cover, give you a cloud, or give you girded so you don't suffer blast damage.
But I've read and just kind of seen there's just a whole lot more shooting and more free.
Yes. I actually touched on that, and I'll touch on it again. I was commenting about how on a scenarioed game, or just any game of Warmachine, you always want to have a big piece of blocking terrain nominally centrally placed, because if you, I think a big problem that people are having with shooting is they put all their terrain like out here on these edges, just like, and they leave the center of the table like wide open, and so you get into a situation where terrain's all out here in these areas. You can see with my awesome artistic skills, but this is where they put all the terrain, and they leave this giant kill box, literally, of open here in the middle of the table. And so I think something they're probably going to do is they really want to encourage people to be playing with more terrain. The packet initially says 6 to 8, and that really means 8. And I think they want to have better rules for specifically the kinds of terrain you have, more of it, and where to put it. Because I think people are taking advantage, I think people are not particularly well educated on what the expectation for terrain is, and Privateer Press has not done a stellar job of communicating their intent behind terrain. So you get into the situation where there's just big open spaces and not as much terrain, and the terrain is not in places on the table that are particularly relevant to gameplay. And I think with that's breeding an environment where you can just take guns, because they're more reliable than last edition, because you can just pre-measure. So, hey, my gun's 10 inches, I'm going to move to exactly 10 inches and shoot you, because there's no terrain here.
And then fall back in that option when you get closer.
Exactly. So that's why it's really important when you're playing the game, if you're new or a veteran to the game, you really need to have a piece of terrain like this that's in the middle of the table, blocking line of sight, so that players who are weak to those guns can take advantage of it and get their troops across the table with some level of protection. And I think that is why we see this meta where guns are more dominant than they probably should be. And really the onus of that falls on Privateer Press to clarify the terrain rules and where and what and how everything should be on the table. Excuse me. So I think as you said, we've seen the Haley feat. It'll be interesting to see when and how Miguel counterfeats. Denegra's feat is one of the few things in the game that prevents running and charging. They clarified that in Mark III. Previously in Mark II, if your speed was reduced for any reason, you couldn't run or charge, which was unpleasant.
Speed 2 Titans.
Yep. One of the lists I've been playing lately is Halo 1 with the new Stormsmith Grenadiers. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I'm just curious because they didn't, just on paper, just first glance, I didn't see.
I bought 2
much
units of them.
So they're
So their stat lines are 1311s, which is not great, but they have force barrier, so it takes they get +2 defense against range attacks, and they don't suffer blast damage. So their defense is 14 against shooting attacks, and it can't be like a stray blast template, can't remove it from the table. Which means that you typically have to over-invest to kill them more than they are worth as a unit. And then if you don't kill them, then they start bowling -2 speed grenades onto you. Because one of the grenade types that they can choose is models hit, but it doesn't have to be directly hit, so it can just be whatever underneath the blast template, are -2 speed. Then I've been playing them with Haley 1, who has her spell for every turn within her control area is -2 speed. So I was playing a game against Andrew Swedberg, who's our local circle player, and I had like his stalker, like his Warpwolf stalker, which is a speed 6 beast. I had down to speed 2.
That's pretty miserable.
And his threat range was 7 inches.
What's the range on those grenades? Isn't it
6.
Like really low? Yeah, it's pretty low, but I mean,
So
usually you're sending one at a time just to throw the grenade and then.
like I said, there's 3 of them. They can run 12 inches on the first turn if they need to, and then they're walking 6 and throwing 6. So they're effectively range 12 in that perspective. And again, at defense 15 against shooting, it takes a prohibitive amount of shooting at them to bring one of them down. So like a generic guy isn't going to shoot and kill them, right?
Yeah.
You need to boost something into them, and at that point it's like, okay, if your war beast is boosting its big gun to kill one of these guys, then you're not doing that at my jacks, right? So if you had for example, a Titan Cannoneer, aiming goes up to a 6, boosts, needs to roll a 9. If you hit, you kill that guy, but you didn't shoot that at one of my jacks or a more costly model.
Yeah.
And if you miss, then you're sad. And then he gets up there and he's like, "Take this, Titan Gladiator." And he hands you -2 speed. That way, it's faster for you to charge than it is to run.
Pretty much. Then you're just slamming for
5 inches every turn.
5 inches.
And then you get stuck in the Haley aura, and then you're speed 1.
Wow.
Then you can charge 4 or run 2.
That does sound pretty miserable.
Yeah. So, I've been playing and enjoying them recently. I don't think they're great all the time, but I think that, and there's so many snipe casters in Cygnar.
Yeah, there will. There's was it? I guess.
Striker Siege? Question mark?
Siege does not have snipe.
So there's definitely a striker. Sloan does not either. There's Maddox has snipe.
Maddox has
And there's definitely one more caster that probably has snipe that we're just not thinking of.
I think Haley.
Haley 1?
Haley 1.
I mean, I have a phone here. It's got War Room. Cray does not. Haley does not. She has Deadeye. Sturgis has snipe. Anyways, let's reel it back to what we're talking about, which was how speed reduces. Speed reduction no longer prohibits you from running and charging like it did in Mark II. So Denegra's feat is basically everyone in their control area gets -2 to basically everything.
Every stat.
And on top of that, the other flip side of her feat that they maintained across editions is that it specifically says that with the speed reduction, it prevents you from charging. Then you combine that with the fact that she has Crippling Grasp as a spell, which is, again, -2 to basically everything that matters. And you can give a 4-point swing on stats and prevent their whole army from charging. So we're probably going to see a situation where these two armies basically time lock themselves, which is Eric has feeded with Haley, so that now Miguel's models can activate, and when they activate, they can have to either move or attack, one or the other. And then so we'll probably then conversely, what we'll probably do is Miguel will probably counterfeit. Well, Miguel actually has a couple of choices here. If he counterfeits, then we'll be in a situation where his guys can walk up to or just out of the threat range of Eric's guys. And then on the following turn, Eric will not be able to charge into his guys. Or Miguel holds his feet for a turn where his models can actually move and attack.
I think I would probably go for weathering the storm and then using the feet offensively, which
For
also
to attrition the enemy army?
Yeah.
I would probably agree. I think what Miguel wants to do here is the threat range on these Sword Knights is pretty low. I think they're probably base speed 6, maybe base speed 2, 5, probably a 6. I mean, everything is Cygnar to 6. They're kind of stuck in a little bit of terrain here. At least a couple of them are. So they're not going to go so far. So I think what Miguel does is he just positions these knights, spaces them out on the side outside the threat range, and making it so only so many of Eric's models can get in there, and then waits for the following turn where he can feat and punch with it, and just guarantee he kills models, right? Looking at the board state, I'm actually favoring Miguel here, simply because he's got the Kraken, he has the Bane Knights. It's going to be really dependent on how much work Old Rowdy and the Ironclad can do.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think they're in the greatest of positions to.
This terrain is very rough for Eric.
Yeah.
That's what I'll definitely say that. Like, this is a big piece of terrain that he can't get through, and this is a big piece of terrain that he can't get through. And frankly, like, Miguel's guys don't care, and the Kraken doesn't care.
Well, that's just the hill where the Kraken is. But
Yep. What do you want? I'm
Baldy, hey.
So,
Here comes my abusive wife. It's Robin. Get down low and show him your pretty face. Get in there. There's the camera. See. Say that. This is my wife. She's a server here at Longhorn House. She's also an internet bully, so don't enable her.
Who are you talking to?
We're streaming
The
right now.
internet?
We're the internet.
Oh.
Bye. Showed her.
yeah.
Anyways, I think my personal opinion of how Eric probably should have played this game is he probably should have had Haley back here and in this pocket of forest. He probably should have put his 2 jacks over in this vicinity, so they should have deployed out here and moved up into this area. His Storm Lances, he should have put 3 of them over on this side of the table and 2 over here, so it's all within command range of the unit leader, and funneled through these areas. And then his Sword Knights, I always forget their name of them because they're like the most non-unit in all of Cygnar, should have been deployed behind the Storm Lances and followed them through this pocket, and been a reserve thing because, again, what they have going for them is they are flank friendly faction warjack. So you utilize them to follow up and attrition your opponent's army by going like, oh man, we've beaten the hell out of each other, we're down to our last couple things, we don't have charges anymore really, so we're not going to take advantage of the brutal charges on the Storm Lances, for example. The Jacks have kind of taken a beating and they're generally crippled out of the game. Oh, but there's still, my little light jack is still alive, durdling around. He's going to walk up to your thing, and I'm going to charge you with these flanking guys and be weapon masters, and swing the attrition battle in your favor. So I think this was just a little bit of just poor deployment on Eric's part, but it's always a good lesson learned. So right now, Miguel looks like he's kind of in the tank, figuring out what he wants to do. He's counting out his focus on Negra.
Well, if he can swing that large unit on that flank and get through the Bane Knights, he might have a good chance, depending on how good the Storm Knights are.
I'll be interested to see if Miguel chooses to. Excuse me. I'll be interested to see if Miguel chooses to like commit Derek Wraith here randomly. And Derek Wraith is this base, right here. Derek Wraith is a sort of weird combination wizard and guy who hits you. He is both competent in melee and competent at magic. So he's like more threatening than most people probably give him credit for sometimes, because more often than not you see Derek Wraith like in the back of an army.
Everyone given the 1 inch buff.
Yeah, the movement buff, or the aura that reduces people's strength in his command range.
It still hits hard though.
But he still hits surprisingly hard, and with the changes to cavalry in Mark III, super accurately. Now that when you charge as cavalry, you get boosted attack rolls. So he goes from being like, I'm this Mat 7 guy who always misses against like defense 13 targets because that's just how dice work. At least whenever I played him. To like, now I always hit, and then I clobber you with my POW 13 and Scythe, and then I kill you, and then I Hellfire into another target. But I'm going to be interested to see if Miguel, who is, I think, using Derek Wraith for the first time right now, like, commits him out here somewhere arbitrarily, and then, like, he'll just die.
Jack walks up and will be like,
Punches him right in the face.
punches him twice,
Yep.
punches his horse, and then him.
Yep, punches him off his horse, and then gives him a taste of the old Quake Hammer. Or if he's going to keep him back there in reserve to, like, as an attrition piece, to sling spells. Because, like, he's got Hellfire, which is POW 14. He could be taking columns off that Firefly, right? Because armor 16, minus 2.
I think he could probably half kill it, if not, you know. Cause, yeah, it is armor 16.
So you're rolling minus 2 on a Hellfire. Average dice roll is going to rip off a column every time. So, pretty much, more or less, give or take. A box.
Looks like the Kraken's moving it. Or Kraken activate.
Let's see. Gull is dirtling around the solo. Figuring out where he wants to go. Shimmersham. Kraken advances into the pocket and probably going to harvest a few Storm Lances here. Miguel's double checking his card. Probably finding out how the corpse driving element reflects tokens and gets more powerful. So one of the things the Kraken does is as it kills enemy models, it collects their corpse tokens, assuming one of two things. One, doesn't get removed from play for some reason, and two, it drops a corpse token, which there are things that don't. So then with those corpse tokens, it fires them out of its cannon, and it gets more powerful the more corpse tokens you have on it. Which is actually a pretty super cool rule, because it increases his damage roll, which means it increases the damage of the blast. What's up, Jason? Looking for Garrett?
Yeah. Aren't you streaming?
I'm doing color commentary for a Warmachine game.
Is it live?
It is live. You were talking vaguely in the vicinity of a microphone.
Oh my gosh. I have the same microphone at home. It picks up everything, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm
If I
wondering.
had an ingestion right now, it would pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it probably does pick up a lot more ambient noise.
yeah, so this is a warm-up game for our little tournament tonight, so we'll be curious to see when we kind of go back and look at it, because we're still kind of playing with all of our
I really like your distribution of images here.
Thank you. And then we can like draw on the screen everything.
That is so cool. I like it.
Plays.
Now you actively change the camera angle if it happens to be pushing more towards the opposite board.
So Eric, we were talking to the audience about this a second ago, but Eric, the gentleman on the left, who does all his equipment and everything in his stream, we do have the ability to like zoom in the camera and stuff.
Okay.
I just don't know how to do it, and I don't want to fiddle with it until he's here, because this is his whole rig, and I don't want to like press
I think
buttons.
it's extremely clear image. I think if they're watching on a TV or any monitor that was bought within the last 5 years, they're going to be pretty pleased with it.
Yeah, but we definitely want to like zoom in so we can like kind of cut in closer on the action and kind of cut out the unused space. I think it'd be super cool.
Although I kind of like seeing the whole
Table?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't play the game, so I don't know how necessary it is to see the whole table.
Yeah.
But like, if I was wanting to know, I don't know, if you play like a fantasy war game, I'd want to see what was hiding on the flanks.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for your input.
Cool. Well, guys.
Enjoy playing your Chaos Notable tonight.
Yeah, have a nice stream.
Yeah, Jay's ladies and gentlemen.
You guys are missing some great facial hair over here.
Yeah, we could have some good beard going on.
Yeah.
It looks like Miguel has got some unenthusiastic dice rolls going on, but he has pulled off one of the Storm Lances. I would genuinely surprised that. Wait, well, he might be doing the kill shot right now. So the kill shot allows him, after he kills a model, to fire his big unicorn cannon. The POW is POW still increased off corpse tokens?
I don't play that faction.
You play that faction.
There's more too. It's a different time.
So he collects corpse tokens. The gun gets progressively more powerful? Question mark.
I think it still does that.
Let's find out. I'm gonna double check the war room before I give away crazy information. Kraken, release the Kraken. All right, so he can spend corpse tokens to gain focus. That's new. When he kills something, he can fire his gun. He just gets bonus strength for every corpse token on it, and he gets +1 to his damage rolls for every corpse token on it. So yeah,
On the big gun?
On the big gun. Yeah. So the important thing about that is that the big gun is an AoE 5. It's like POW 14, 15. Which when you have it, the damage roll for the blast damage, you then still get to add the bonus from the corpse token. So let me double check the strength on the gun real quick. POW of the Hellblaster is 14, so it would have down to 7 on the blast damage, and then you would gain up to +3 if you had 3 corpse tokens. So it would be a POW 17 and then a POW 10. So the math is superior as a result of getting the bonus damage, as opposed to increasing the raw POW of the gun itself. So that's real good for punching out a guy, getting a kill shot, firing off at your giant AoE 5 at a whole bunch of dudes, and then being like, oh, surprise, it's POW 10, blah, roll some dice, they're all dead. As opposed to POW 7, which you would assume that the basic armor, so, armors generally fall under, classically one of two classes in this game. You're the high defense, low armor, in which case you're probably armor 11. Or you're the other guy, which means you're like a 12,
14, 15.
yeah, you're like a 12 defense and like a 14 or 15. So the difference between a POW 7 gun blast damage going against an armor 14 is an 8 to kill versus a POW 10 gun blast damage versus arm 14 is a 5 to kill. So suddenly you go from more often than not killing the model to more often than not killing the model. So the corpse token and the kill shot and all of those layered abilities are very powerful for the Kraken at performing multiple useful tasks, which is his big Kraken arm killing things, and then firing off that unicorn cannon shot and wiping out a swath of infantry.
Unless he just killed.
Well, one of two things happen. One, they do know we're kind of on a timer because we're going to start Monday Night Fights here soon. Or what happened?
Killbox win.
Oh, you killbox yourself?
No, he
Forgot
did.
about the kill box.
Oh, you forgot about the killbox?
Because he was just
So yeah, we were wondering where Negra was. We couldn't quite see her,
Yep.
and so that's the Negra right here.
Yes. And
Because he
then
gets 2
I
points,
had
right?
control up there.
Yeah, you would get a point for controlling that flag out there. Have you scored other points?
So he gets 2 points on this turn, right? Because I didn't move her.
Yeah.
And then he's got to score. He already has a point from last
So
turn.
he will score a point from his turn.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not contest that flag, he will score another point at the end of this turn,
So I still have a
and
chance.
2 points from the kill box. And then on his turn, he ends the turn and gets his 5th point. Can you contest that flag? Is the question.
I have to be within 4 inches, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I think you can.
Okay.
However, all Eric then needs to do on his turn is kill whatever models are contesting,
Yeah, but I'll make him fight for it.
and then have this
Right
guy
now, I
walk
thought it was
over
completely done.
and get that flag.
All right.
All right, finish it up.
Okay.
Bane Knights.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Yeah, get in there, jam it up. But you got it. That's what you got to do. All right, so let's talk about kill boxes real quick. What's up, Jake? Let's talk about kill boxes real quick. It is a kill box scenario, which means that your warcaster has to be at least 14 inches away from any of the table edges by the end of the second turn. Otherwise, your opponent scores 2 points. So, this is nominally where that 14-inch line is, and Denegra, who's a tiny little black speck right there, is currently behind it, which means at the end of Miguel's turn, Eric will score 2 points. Well, Eric has already scored 1 point from controlling this flag here, so that puts Eric at 1 CP. At the end of this turn, so what we were talking about with Miguel is Miguel needs to move one of his models to within 4 inches of this flag. That means that Eric will score 2 CP from Denegra killboxing herself, but will not score a 4th CP from controlling the flag at the end of Miguel's turn. So what Eric's task is now is to clear out all of Miguel's models within 4 inches and have one of these solos move up and control this flag.
Since that unit is below that swing.
That will score him the 2 last points to finish the scenario. And yet, Matt brings up a good point. The reason that these guys aren't scoring the flag is because to control the flag, you must have a model in base contact with it, and if it's a unit, the entire unit needs to be within 4 inches, and the unit needs to be over 50% strength. And since it's a 5-man unit, there's only 2 models left, won't score. It's under 50% unit strength.
Too bad that Miguel doesn't have a Slayer to throw Denegra out of the kill box.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Keep the show going, man.
So the casting time. It looks like Cygnar's turn, and it's his chance to clear all those Bane Knights and win the game. No small task, but he does have a couple of jacks to help clear those Bane Knights out of there. Old Rowdy should probably do some work. And, or did, maybe I was wrong. Miguel, is it Miguel's turn still?
Yeah.
Okay, so he charged. I thought it was Eric's turn.
Yeah. So what the question was about was Old Rowdy has countercharge.
Got you. But,
So they were really they weren't super familiar with the rules for countercharge. So he was wondering if he retaliatory. Basically, the question he was asking was, "Hey, you're going to hit Old Rowdy. Old Rowdy's going to get a retaliatory strike and hit you back. Can I then countercharge your model?" Well, the answer is no. The way it works is after a model ends their movement within 6 inches of you, and if you are not engaged, you can countercharge if they're within line of sight. Basically, you can make a legal charge against them. Miguel, on accident, at his own exclamation, did it correctly by moving this model first to engage Old Rowdy. So Old Rowdy, who's now engaged, can't countercharge. However, if Miguel had moved, let's say, this guy first, and that guy was not engaging Old Rowdy could have declared a countercharge on him, and then Miguel would have completed the movement of the other models in his unit. So Miguel, sort of on accident, did it, I guess you would say, the correct way in terms of mitigating the countercharge. But that's essentially how it works. You have to be able to make a legal charge, and you can't be engaged to do it. So you want to, if there's somebody threatening a countercharge, you want to engage that thing first before you move into a position where you could be countercharged.
I've had that come up many times with my
Bronze backs.
Wanting to get in there, but then they just jam it up.
Yep. Well, Z-2 has got countercharge for his battle group.
Oh, that's for the whole battle group?
Have you seen them yet?
I've seen. I haven't really looked through the card. I saw a bit of his model, and I'm wondering if, like, with his huge sword, if he's gonna have like reach 3 or something.
No. His sword's actually not that big. I'll pull up his thing for you so you can see it. So I actually have the model, and Jordan's borrowing him. He'll be playing him tonight.
Oh, you have the, like, not the new model, but just Z-1?
No, I have Z-2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm actually excited to see it.
Here. So we're talking about the new Scorn Warcaster Lord Tyrant Zaydash. Zaydash is one of the Journeyman Warlocks. There's one for each main faction. How are we on sign-ups, by the way?
What?
Do you have any people we have signed up?
Just open, so probably most of them.
He's one of the 4 Dreaming Warlocks who now has a full Warlock iteration. And they all sort of like kept their theme from junior version to full version.
Yeah, like I'm seeing he has Flank with War Beast, and he kind of had that with Tag Team.
Back again.
Back again, running those, well, except it's for him, but I love running the Hounds with him.
Reptile Hounds.
Yeah.
So his model's been released. The model was released at Warmachine Weekend, so if you were available, if you're at Warmachine Weekend, you could have bought him there, and they also had him available on their website to order.
Oh, okay.
But I think he might still be available.
I'll have to definitely.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do like tonight if it's still there. And then I'm also a Privateer Press employee, so I ordered it internally. And I got mine. And Jordan's borrowing it for now. His spell list.
Kind of said that he's not weapon master, but I can understand why with giving him flashing blade, not making
And
him
flank.
another butcher.
Yeah. Since we're talking about it, I'm gonna finish sort of telling people what he does. He has an upkeep spell that gives entire battle group battle charge or counter charge, which is super good. He has a spell to put out clouds that reduce people's attack rolls. So he can, and he has an upkeep spell that gives a model or unit +2 armor, and he has flashing blade. So nominally, what you probably do is you upkeep the armor spell on either one of your beasts or on one of your units. You upkeep the counter charge spell, and then you put out 2 clouds to block line of sight, and then that's all of his fury right there. And if you combine it with like Swamp Gobbers, who put out a 5-inch cloud, and then the 2 clouds, that's 11 inches of cloud you can have right there.
Just make sure that like they don't like probably the enemy doesn't have any mage sight or whatever.
Yeah, you wouldn't drop the clouds if
Yeah.
they can see through the clouds. If they can see the clouds, you wouldn't spend the fury to drop the clouds. And then his feat is gross. His feat is everyone in his control area gets +2 mat, strength, and defensive strike.
Wow.
And defensive strike is when a model ends their movement next to you, you can swing on them.
So that would go before their charge attack.
Yes.
That's pretty gross.
Yes.
Scorpion sting.
And then he has Sacrificial Pawn, War Beast.
So just anybody who's near him just be like.
Yeah, so you can't shoot at him, he just shoots his War
So
Beasts.
taking like 2 soldiers with him who
That
don't
is
care
something
about
you-
shooting.
So what I'm currently postulating is that you just take a cannoneer, and the cannoneer just sits next to him and shoots.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are talking about taking like soldiers or sentinels because they have the carapace. The thing is, man, the sentinel is so bad.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
And like he's still somewhat viable, I believe, against hordes, but just against Warmachine and robots in general, just doesn't have what it takes.
Yeah.
And the range is what
The reality is I think putting him next to a soldier or sentinel is useful tech, but I also think it's kind of cute tech. I don't think it's actually as viable as you want, because I'm just not going to bother shooting at him. And at the end of the day, you have a subpar beast. I would rather just take a cannoneer, put him behind a wall, put the cannoneer next to him, the cannoneer just sits there and shoots the entire game, and then if he ever gets a shot, you just put the cannoneer.
Yeah.
Who's totally tough enough to take it. Or you just have him in a big pocket of like Titans and Sentries and Tiberian who's just like marching at the table.
That's,
So back to the action of Miguel and Eric here. Yeah, that is sweet.
Yeah. I also liked his backstory a bit, just because it,
So Miguel is in there jamming away to stop Eric from scoring. Looks like he has thinned out at least half the unit of Sword Knights. Hey Max, you know how we are on signups? You know how we are on signups?
I will go check.
Thank you.
At least
Max Henderson, ladies and gentlemen, his dad owns Privateer Press.
Shut up, Jeff.
His dad's an editor for Privateer Press. He does a lot of the editing in their books and stuff. He doesn't actually play the game. He's just literally just a professional editor who covers the layouts of the books and the cards and makes sure the spelling is on and yada yada. So, but I always give him hell and tell him to say his dad owns the company.
secretly.
Yeah, secretly he's in charge. Dan Henderson, my good buddy. So Miguel has jammed up this flag here, and he has little Arcnode, go be little hero guy, charging in there. Will not really do anything, but at least it's like 16-ish boxes.
I was gonna say, I don't think that Storm Knight can't take it out, and I don't
By
know about
himself.
the other one by himself. So I think he has to commit either the Firefly or that other Ironclad.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.
So yeah, I think he might have to commit an Ironclad to go deal with that.
Oh, you saw that? We saw that, Miguel.
Maybe one hand throw him away. That'd be a little
yeah.
risky, but I mean that would just get rid of
Well-
him out of the zone, correct? Can the Warjack control the zone or control the flag?
Yeah, you have to be in base contact with it. But he's still. So I think what you do, I still think what Eric needs to do is, I think this Firefly with 2 or 3 focus, charging into the back of this Jack can kill it. Then one of these guys still needs to run into base contact. Really no reason why this Firefly shouldn't be able to kill this Bone Jack. At least if you give it a couple. At least if you give it a couple focus. This is a little bit of a worse situation over here because of how many of the Sword Knights are dead. But however, conveniently, the exact number of them are currently alive as need to control the flag. Just half the unit. So it's going to be up. So the question is does old Rowdy probably? The thing is, old Rowdy can't shimmy to his right or left on your screen. So old Rowdy want to head over here, but there's no room to because the flag is a.
He doesn't have any thing like overtake or killing.
Yeah.
In that case, I think Haley might need to step up with some bolts.
So Haley 3 is right here and could do some telekinesises, which would probably help. But you are firing them into melee, so you are going to be they're going to be defense 16, I think.
16.
So she's an 8. She would need an 8. You would roll 2 dice, and then she has future sights. You can roll boost after seeing your dice rolls. So if you got like a 5 or a 6, you would boost needing like a 2 or a 3 to get your 8. It was probably the best way to do it, right?
Yeah.
TK, telekinesis, this guy back, telekinesis, this guy back, same plan. This allows Old Rowdy to move into this pocket and smash both of them. And then hopefully these 3 guys right here can finish off the last one right there. That's got to be that's got to sort of be what you're going for.
Because if it goes past that, then you just got that Kraken holding down that zone.
Oh yeah, then you well.
And then I don't know. Then he has to. Derek Wraith would probably run up or something.
Yeah, that's the thing is Derek Wraith presents a lot of obnoxious boxes to kill because he's defense 13 or 14. He's armor 17 on the horse. On the horse, he has 10 boxes. After you kill him on the horse, he dismounts. He has 5 more boxes. He becomes armor 15. He's just like an unnecessary amount of boxes to kill.
And you can't do it in one go.
Yeah, and it's really hard to do it in one go without having reach because he's a small base model.
Oh, that's right. Because then he goes from
a big base to a small base, and if you don't have 2 inches of reach, he can place himself. He has to place himself inside
his
base size.
So you're gonna scoop back just a smidge and be like, well.
Not outside your 1 inch reach potentially, because a 50 millimeter base is just under 2 inches, and so if you're base to base with it, and then a 30 millimeter base is just under 1 inch. I actually don't know the calculation. I'd have to actually put a base on the. Hey, Andrew, you would know because you're a huge nerd. If you are got 1 inch of reach, and you are base contact with Derek Wraith,
Yeah.
and you kill him off of his horse, do you still have 1 inch of reach on him when he goes to his smaller base?
Do you think I could convert between metric and imperial?
That's literally what I was just trying to do.
That is how you have to do that. So I don't know. Every time it happens to me, I just proxy base it and get widgets
Yeah,
out.
I would have to see it on the table. It might take you outside 1 inch reach. So yeah, I think Miguel. If Miguel's hoping to save the game to the point where the Kraken becomes relevant as far. Oh, bird!
Game shape.
Game shape. Game shape. Judge call.
Vamp for him. Same stuff.
All right, a simple mount question. Basically, If your mount charges, it doesn't get to attack, but it can make an impact attack if it connects with an enemy model. Are you working, or what are you doing tonight, by the way? Are you playing? You want to play Monday Nights?
No.
No, okay.
I gotta wake up early in the morning.
Sure. But if you don't charge as cavalry, and you walk and you're within the half-inch melee range of a mount, you can make an attack with the mount. So I'm gonna go remind Eric real quick that Stormlance cannot control that flag.
So a new ray of hope for Cryx.
It's defense 5, automatically hit melee, armor 18, 15 boxes. Oh, because of your feet? Alright, so basically Eric is at 4 control points, attempting to get his 5th. These guys back here have already activated,
Oh, okay.
so they can't go up and control the flag. This guy is under 50% unit strength, so he can't control the flag. Miguel has feeded, so these models can't charge, and they're all -2 speed. So what he's trying to do right now
The ironclad
is,
can only go 3 inches.
yeah, and he's in the water. So right now the Firefly is swinging.
Attempting to go big.
It walked up to the objective and it is
How many
attempting
points does the objective have?
15 hit points.
Oh my god.
The Firefly is currently attempting to walk up and hit it with his weapon. Let's find out.
POW 13 or 14.
I think he might be like POW 10 to be entirely honest. Let's find out. He's actually
The spear or the
the spear.
The spear has to be stronger than 10.
POW 13. Holy
Yeah.
smokes. So it's POW 13 on the spear.
Minus
So
5.
-5, 3 attacks is 6 damage. He has to get the Ironclad in there, and he can probably do it if he telekinesis this guy forward 2 inches, and then he walks to within an inch right there.
That's true. Yeah.
That's what he has to do. And then the Ironclad is POW 18 on his Quake Hammer. That's straight damage. You buy like 2 or 3 attacks.
Well, how many focus? It looks like he has 2 focus on it, so yeah, he could, or 3 actually.
I think he's got 3.
So he could potentially do this.
Yeah, the other thing is that he moves Haley into base contact and can either kill and or TK those guys out of contesting range.
How far is telekinesis? 2?
2 inches.
They have to be not within 4. That's gonna be pretty close. I think one of them might still be, but it's hard to judge from this angle. Oh, here comes the Ironclad.
That's Rowdy.
Oh, Rowdy.
Although I think he moved a little too far with telekinesis, but that is probably just him being unfamiliar with the TK. So the TK is completely within,
It's
not
not
within.
full, too.
So I think what he did there, and this is just a byproduct of him not being super familiar with the all the niceties of the language of the game. If this is your base out here, and you move within 2 inches, assuming that this line I just drew is 2 inches, you can put any part of your base touching that 2-inch mark. However, telekinesis is completely within. Oop, I'm drawing outside the. It's completely within. So if this is a 2-inch line right there, no part of your base can go past that line So all it really does is move you essentially a complete base width if you're at large base.
It looked like he took out that final objective.
So with a slightly potentially cheatery TK, he walks old Rowdy up to the objective and smashes it with his Quake Hammer, scoring his 5th victory point or control point and winning the game. Oh god, what have I done? I messed up everything. What did I do?
I don't know what you did.
Yeah, well, whatever. Let's just. Anyways, so we're going to take a short break. This was part of our warm-up game. We're going to get a couple things. Eric will probably be joining me here in the booth for a bit while we cast the games for Monday Night Fights. So Monday Night Fights is our casual, friendly tournament that we run the first Monday of every month here at Mock Sporting House. We're going to have a 3-round tournament, and we'll have a feature table for each of those rounds, basically for the next couple hours, for like 4 hours or so, or less. And we'll be broadcasting those here. So we're going to take a short break. We'll put up a little fancy sign or something saying that we'll be back. We're going to get Monday Night Fights going.
Can
and
I
we're gonna
give
get
some advice to someone out there if they were watching?
Yeah.
Always remember Killbox. That's the
Killbox?
second time I've lost a game to Killbox.
Yep. Anyways, we'll take a short break, and we'll be back in just a little bit, probably about a good anywhere between 10-15 minutes or something, and then we'll get things set up.
Yeah.
And you want to go and do your stuff. Anyways, thanks, Matt, for joining me, and
Thank you for having me.
we'll be back soon.
Thanks for watching.
And then you should probably fix whatever horrible damage I just did to your screen.
No, we're fine. I don't know what that is, but we'll figure
I
it
think
out.
it looks like I opened that up somehow.
Oh, yeah. Do you?
We fixed it. We're heroes.
You break it again?
I did totally break it.